Good day, I hope you're well. My name is Veliswa Tia, and today I'd like to talk about a book that I've recently read called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. The book was published in 1903, but is still highly quoted even to this day. So I wanted to know what made the book so popular. What I've understood about the book is that the book is truly one of the foundational books about self-development as well as understanding the power of the mind. And so, in keeping true with the channel of Learn, Share and Inspire, I'd like to take a few key lessons that I think add value from the book. The first key lesson is a man's mind is like a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must bring forth fruit. Your mind must produce something. The mind being compared to a garden talks about the fertility of the mind. The mind is highly fertile. Whatever seed is planted in the mind must produce a result. When we were growing up, our parents taught us to stay away from bad crowds because they might affect us negatively and make us drift in the wrong direction. Now we're grown and no longer have our parents to tell us which people are the bad crowds. We are now the masters of what impacts us. What has also changed is that the bad crowd now is no longer just people standing and loitering in the corner. The bad crowd is everything that you expose yourself to that steals the power of your mind. There are a number of things that people willingly expose themselves to that steal their mental strength. One example is television. Television is always communicating the invincible enemy. There is always someone outside who is bad and violent and who might attack me. I'm always made to be fearful of the outside, of the invincible enemy. So television is always pushing fear towards me. So, if you want to intelligently cultivate your garden, then monitor the amount of time you spend exposing yourself to television. And so, the first key lesson is a man's mind is like a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. The second key lesson is men do not attract what they want, but attract what they are. So, it becomes important for you to understand who you are so that you can understand what you will attract. If you are a focused, progressive person who has a clear direction in mind, that is what you will attract. Clarity, progress, and focus. If you are a person who is scattered, no clear direction, highly unorganized, that is what you will attract. Those will be your results. There is a line in the book that says, men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are not willing to improve themselves, and therefore remain bound. So, if you look at your life right now and not happy with what you produce, then it simply means you need to become more so that you can attract what you want. You need to become more in your thinking, become more in your beliefs, become more in your actions, so that this more can attract more of what you want. The seed of an apple produces an apple. The seed of an orange produces an orange. You produce your own kind. That is why it is not what you want, but who you are that becomes important, because who you are is what you produce. So, monitor and understand who you are so that you can understand what you will attract. So, second key lesson is men do not attract what they want, but attract what they are. So, monitor who you are so you can understand what you will attract. The third key lesson is circumstances do not make the man, but reveal him to himself. This is a statement that was made by Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus. From what I understand about Stoicism teaches temperance and logic. It teaches you to be balanced in your emotions and logical about what is happening. In Stoicism, there's an understanding that what goes up must come down. There is light and there is darkness. There are good days and there are bad days. But a man must not be swayed by either of these things. So, when things are going well, do not drift too far up. Because logically, you should be able to understand that things will go down. Stoicism says what you have revealed about yourself is that you are overly swayed, you are overly up and down, and that is what is being revealed about the man. So, Stoicism is teaching you whatever circumstance you are in, do not be swayed up and down by it, but remain balanced. Do not be overly affected with what is happening outside. Remain balanced, then balance is what you will be. Balance will be who you are. The fourth key lesson is the body is a servant of the mind. Disease and health are all rooted in the mind. A change in diet will not help a man who has not changed his mind. When a man makes his thoughts pure, he will no longer desire impure foods. The book gives an example of a rich but greedy man. This man has a tendency to overeat. This overeating has negatively impacted his health. The rich man is willing to pay large amounts of money to different doctors to help restore his health. However, he is not looking at himself in order to understand why he is behaving in the way that he's behaving. His body is responding to his thoughts and his mind, but he's not willing to analyze his thought and his mind in order to find a reason and a solution to his behavior. The body is a servant of the mind. So monitor the ideas and beliefs you have about food because they do impact your body. If at this stage you still believe that you are young and you can get away with bad diets and maybe unhealthy eating, then understand that those thoughts crystallize into habits, and habits are difficult to break. So, fourth key lesson is the body is a servant of the mind. The fifth key lesson is thoughts crystallize into habits. Habits crystallize into circumstance. Thoughts of doubt crystallize into habits of weak action. Weak action crystallize into circumstance of failure. So it starts from thought, crystallizes into habit, crystallizes into circumstance. Another example is thoughts of laziness crystallize into habits of uncleanliness, which crystallize into habits of beggary. On the other side, though, thoughts of self-reliance crystallize into strong actions, which crystallizes into circumstances of success. So, self-reliance, high action, and success. And so it becomes incredibly important for us to understand our thoughts because they do lead into our habits, and our habits do lead into our circumstances. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant produces fruit. The fourth key lesson is thoughts crystallize into habits. Habits crystallize into circumstance. The sixth and final lesson is until thought is linked with purpose, no intelligent accomplishment can be reached. I recently did a video on understanding your purpose, so if you'd like to understand that or check that out, it's in the description box below. The book says those who have no clear essential purpose in life fall easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, self-pity, which are all signs of weakness, which lead to deliberate failure, unhappiness, and loss. For weakness cannot persist in a power-evolving universe. Your purpose is like a lighthouse. It guides you. So, your thoughts are always guided by your purpose. Your purpose doesn't move. It's your thoughts that move around your purpose. All the time. There are times when you might slightly drift off, but because there is a guide, you keep coming back and moving around the guide. When a person doesn't have a purpose, they don't have this guide. They don't have this lighthouse. So what happens is, because there's nothing for the thoughts to drift around, the thoughts drift around in different directions. There's nothing to anchor or direct the thoughts. So the thoughts, this is when the book says people can easily fall prey to worries, troubles, self-pity, because there's nothing directing the thoughts. There's no guide for the thoughts. This is why it is so important for people to understand their purpose so that they can be guided by it. And so that is the end of the key lessons that I learned from this book. Just a rough summary. The first lesson is a man's mind is like a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. The second is men do not attract what they want, but attract what they are. The third key lesson is circumstances do not make a man, but reveal him to himself. Key lesson number 4 is the body is a servant of the mind. Lesson number 5 is thoughts crystallize into habits. Habits crystallize into circumstance. And sixth and final is thoughts and purpose. Until thoughts are linked to purpose, no intelligent accomplishment can be reached. And that is the summary. I thank you so much. I really hope you've gained some value from this book, because I have. If you know someone who could benefit from this book, please share it with them. If you like this summary and hope to get more content like this, then please make use of that like, share and subscribe button. This is all about learning, sharing and inspiring. I thank you so much. This is Beliswa. Bye.